Good afternoon, good evening, and good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another exciting Alpha X Pro Replay Cast. Today, we're going to be continuing our tradition of DreamHack Winter Open replays with these two players spawning down here in the bottom position. He is Liquid's Clem versus an absolute powerhouse of a Protoss up here in the red. He is Showtime. So this is the losers bracket round of 4, and really it's quite a strange thing to see both of these players down here because they are such powerful opponents. I don't even remember really who brought them down to this position, but we'll probably find out as we've got a lot of replays to cast from this event. But already, Clem is going to make this a very fun one. I don't really know his position on TVP overall, so, I mean, I don't know if he does like to go into those later stage games. I know Showtime lives for the mid to late game, as do most Protoss, so this is probably just Clem's attempt to kind of psych him out in game number 1, although it's kind of weird that he's going for Marine first rather than a Reaper. All right, but there you have it. Showtime's still kind of trying to find out what's going on here. He hasn't really scouted the map just yet. Just kind of keeping this probe inside of Clem's base, trying to be a bit cheeky with it, just making sure that he knows everything that's going on. He can kind of assume that the proxy is going to include a factory. But yeah, I'm very interested to see where Clem goes with this. Looks like it's going to be Hellions. So a lot of Terran players have decided to go for this sort of Hellion style recently against Protoss players, and it's been pretty effective since a lot of the time you don't really see Protoss players wall off. They've started to recently just to kind of counteract it, but at the same time that kind of just slows you down, having to throw down those additional buildings in the front wall. Just trying to make sure that you're safe, and, you know. Now we do have that medevac on the way as well, so the wall's going to be a little bit ineffective here. We do have enough kind of scatting around, trying to make sure that he doesn't get blindsided by the drop play either. But I mean, overall, this has the potential to do quite a bit of damage. It takes three shots off a Hellion to kill a probe line, and I may have failed basic math, but there's 4 Hellions here, so. Oh. Okay, so he's actually going to include the Widow Mine drop behind this. This is going to be very dicey for Showtime. If he's out of position for even a minute, he's just going to get absolutely wrecked here. So far, though, he is looking pretty good. Widow Mine's going to come in the front, pull a lot of those stalkers to the natural. There is enough detection, but that is not going to be enough. The Hellions make it into both locations. Stalker's going to go straight for the main base to try and defend. And a couple more probes starting to fall already. That is some fantastic damage for Clem. But now Showtime is going to go on the attack. Now, a lot of Clem's production was across the map, so it's going to be a little bit tricky here on the defense. The bunker's not even complete just yet, so he's going to have to drop that missile turret just to help himself out. Does he really have enough here? Now Showtime just going to be rotating around the bunker. And we should probably see a recall here, as there's not that much to kill. Again, they just don't have Blink, so they're a little bit trapped here. I mean, he's still going to try and make this work, it looks like. Killing off a lot of Clem's units before recalling out. That recall probably a little bit too late. Losing all those stalkers is pretty hefty cost for what he got done. Colossus drop, my goodness. Showtime just being really, really aggressive in this game, and I'm loving it. He's taking a little bit more damage from the Raven in the back, but it's not really committed damage from Clem, so Showtime's going to have a pretty easy time kind of just transitioning out. Here we go. Colossus is already doing some good work on those Marines, kind of weakening them up. There's not a lot of healing energy with this, and it's going to force a lot of those reinforcements to stay at home as he's pushing a non-existent natural base, or a third base rather. Now the question is, does Showtime have enough at home to defend? Those siege tanks are in position, and he has a view of the high ground, that robo facility, not too long for this world. I feel like Showtime was focusing a little bit too much on that Colossus drop as well. That kind of cost him a lot of time on the defense at the front. He doesn't have charge either with this, so he's not going to be able to push his way forward as easily as he would like. Colossus back here might help out, but you know, this is still a very scary position for Clem. And by that I mean he made a very scary position for Showtime. Not going to push the issue. That's pretty interesting here. I feel like he is in a good position to kind of keep that attack going, but he's just going to back off. Now behind all of this, Showtime's still only on 2 base, so that's gonna put a lot of pressure and a bit of a timer on him. As you can kind of see, he's going to be moving across the map, looking to end this game here and now with the Speedy Boys and the Colossus in the back. I just don't think this is going to do much. Unfortunately, I think Clem just has too big of a lead, all things considered. Now he gets a view up of this army, and the Viking actually going to shoo this away, stimming the Marauders to kill the Observer. Not the best. Yeah, I mean, from here, Clem has the better army. It's just all over, and I hate to say that Showtime is dead, but, you know, Halloween was a little bit ago, and I think he's a zombie right now. Someone got to call the Necromancer and tell him to come get the corpse. Clem, though, again, this is a problem that I've seen him in a lot of the replays I've cast of him and just the games I've watched. He's a bit, like he's a bit indecisive in when he likes to move out, when he likes to get that attack going. And now Showtime has this small opportunity, this small window where a good chunk of Clem's army is again just coming back on the defense. If this gets too dicey, he does have a recall, but a lot of those zealots in a very bad position. And here we go. They are just going to fall immensely here, trying to get on top of the SCVs with what's left, but those will get recalled. And this 30 supply lead from Clem, just incredible to behold. Here we go, another big engagement. Showtime just trying to slow him down, but unfortunately he's bleeding out too many of his units. The Zealots do get in there, but the reinforcements enough to stop that as the third base in a lot of trouble. Disruptor hits. That is how Showtime is going to get back into this game. But unfortunately he can't follow up on it. Fighting in this choke point. There is more than enough splash to go around. And as the Colossus fall, I think that's going to be it. Showtime gets taken out, and Clem will go ahead in this series. Now remember, this is a best of 3, so these players are on match point. So we will see you in game number 2. Stick around. And now here we go once again, spawning in the bottom position. He is Team Liquid's Clem. And his opponent up here in the top, representing he himself, and he is Showtime. Now, Death Aura is a much larger map, I would say, than Oxide. And overall, I think this will be a very exciting game. Just from what we saw in the last one, Clem never really overextended after that early damage, which is one of those things that Terran players do tend to do sometimes. They just really don't have a good sense of when to pull back and when to stop their aggression, so they lose a lot of their units too early on, and that just allows the Protoss player to steamroll through the game. But yeah, Clem did a really good job there of just kind of keeping the aggression up without overextending. Now he's going to block Showtime off here, and I think this is a worrisome sight for Showtime, as this is really going to slow down his build quite a bit. Look at that, Clem still even just getting a little bit more work, so that stays up just a little bit longer. Now behind this, it does look like we're going to be seeing those Hellions once again. Gets a kill on that, so there is no refund. And I mean, from here, Clem still does have a lot of options. Again, Hellions has been kind of the go-to, just because it is easier to get a lot of early game damage. You could couple it with the Widow Mines like we did see in game number 1, and it's just really hard to deal with as the Protoss player early on. Okay, so Showtime going to be going for the Stargate. That's not so much a hard counter as a bit of more of a soft counter to this strategy, just because it allows you to get those Phoenix up to keep any medevac support away. The Hellions can be lifted up so they're not doing as much damage. But already, Showtime getting a couple good pokes there up on the ramp. And you really do want to try and weaken those Hellions as much as you possibly can. Also got to pay attention right there. Make sure those Adepts don't get into the main base. But now Showtime on the retreat. He does have that wall up, so he is going to be able to defend a little bit easier, even just going to fully wall himself off. But this is the first time that Clem has seen that the Oracle is on the way. If he's lucky, the Oracle will try and stay at home at defend. And there you go, he does pop his laser, so it's not going to be as effective on the other side of the map. But just to be safe, we've got the Viking and the Cyclone on the way. Phoenix as well, just for safety. You do want to keep that Oracle alive just because Revelation is a very useful ability here. But, yeah, I mean, Showtime is gearing up his Phoenix. We should be seeing him kind of transition after he gets about 5 or 6 of those. But, I mean, this does open up a big window for Clem. Like, the Phoenix can be good for lifting up those siege tanks, but this is going to hit so quickly that there's not really that many Phoenix, and so you can focus fire them down with the Marines without really weakening your attack. The addition of the Vikings as well just makes this so powerful. Now this is going to help out quite a bit. Showtime sets the trap beautifully, so the Cyclones in the back, or in the front rather, just going to get taken down. Bunkers do start to go up, but really it's just a game of survival for Showtime. If he doesn't want to pop that shield battery too early. But like I was saying, the Marines can just focus fire down all of those Phoenix. The Oracle is crashed right now as well. The bunker's still going to come up as Showtime not really able to focus fire down those SCVs efficiently. But I don't know for Showtime right now. This is a very difficult position to be in. All the Phoenix gone. The Vikings have landed as well. They're much better versus mechanical than they used to be. And once again, the probes have to be pulled. One lift up on that tank going to help clean that up, but there's still one in the back, which is going to get surrounded. But still, it's the bunker and the Vikings you still have to contend with, as well as 10 of your probes going down. Clem doesn't have his third base, so that is a saving grace for him, but, you know, a decent defense there from Showtime. Lost a lot, but, you know, them's the things. You're not really going to take a very good engagement right there. I don't think. It's really just impossible to do. Now we do see that big gateway explosion from Showtime, so if anything, he has stabilized quite effectively. Gonna get the Templar Archives as well. Robo facility going down so he could go up to Colossus or Disruptors. And taking a look at this, he is down in terms of that army supply, relatively equal on workers. But really, Clem didn't have a follow-up. So he's giving Showtime all this time to kind of advance his way forward. Here we go once again, Clem. He doesn't have a ton here as the siege tank's in the back, just going to focus the retreat. Force field's going to catch a good chunk of his army. So he will have to back on out of there. And this is one of the reasons that Clem is just a super solid Terran player, is because he knows when to retreat like this. He's not going to try and push his luck and risk losing his entire army. We do see Disruptors on the way as well. That's going to help kind of clean up the siege tank line. A couple of those Phoenix as well going to be wonderful for the attack. But, you know, Showtime doesn't need to push anything. He doesn't need to force the issue, so to speak. I think he's just going to be kind of content to get this position up, kind of macro up behind it, and then just go for that big engagement later on, which I think is the best option for him. Clem once again, he has built up quite a sizable army already, and yeah, he's a good position here. Luckily for Showtime, though, he's got vision all over the place with these zealots, so he's going to have a good wind of when this is coming. Clem going to be coming around towards the 4th base. So Showtime a little bit out of position here, but you know, if he can get some of those good disruptor hits, I think he's going to feel just fine. Starting to push his way up the rep. This first disruptor gonna whiff, but that does force the main army back and buy himself a couple more seconds of time. EMP is going to blanket this army here in just a couple of seconds. As he sends the disruptors forward, he's just trying to get on top of those siege tanks. Those are the big objective for him right now. Disruptors doing what they can to kind of keep this army back, but here we go. The surround is coming his way. The siege tanks going to get some good damage connections on, but the Archon's in the front soaking up a lot of it. And now another big disruptor hit right there. I think Showtime has effectively cleaned this up. And as I say that, the reinforcement is going to be coming in. So it's still anyone's game right now. Still a lot of disruptors in the works. And that's really just there to buy time for Showtime now. There is no more siege tanks other than this one that just showed up. But as that gets taken down, there's no splash, no AoE with this. And Clem can't really engage up that ramp efficiently anymore. couple of good blinks forward, just getting those pickoffs. The Zealots in the front soaking up a lot of damage here, but they will start to fall. Now Clem, he's still almost maxed out, while Showtime is only on 151, so Showtime really can't engage his position much longer. But he does have those DTs, which I think he should start using pretty soon. Forces a recall up at the top. It is pure bio versus everything that Showtime has. A couple of okay connections on those disruptors, and there you go. Now those connections are starting to make a difference. C-Tank in the back gonna stop one of that warp in with the pylon going down. Taking out more of his Zealots than he does the bio, but still, Showtime being a little bit too far forward there. He's going to lose quite a few Stalkers to the Siege Tanks, and now, I mean, really, Clem, just so solid with these attacks. It's death by 1,000 cuts all over again. Oh no, Showtime losing a good chunk of his probes there, trying to escape the Liberator line. I mean, Showtime has been completely out of position for these last couple of attacks as well. He doesn't have a recall either, so that makes it all the more dicey for him. Clem just sacking his way forward. Now the Disruptor's going to help push this back, but unfortunately he's taking out more of his own units. On the other side of things, we do have a huge DT run by. Going to go straight in there and doing some massive amounts of work. And there you have it. That's the Disruptor shot that he was looking for. Clem starting to get pushed back as these DTs are going ham in his bases. Now, I mean, from here, Showtime is still down over 30 to 50 army supply. So he really does start to feel the pinch here as, oh God, this is just so difficult to engage into. You see those Disruptors going to do what they can, but one of Clem's bases starts to fall. Over 40 workers have already been crumpled in the last couple of minutes. So it's not necessarily a base race just yet, but it's starting to look a lot like one. The problem is Clem just has so much more, and he's so much more on top of things. He's going to really rely on those Disruptor hits to finish things out. He's going to help out against the Siege Tanks, but the scans just going to clean those up, and that was a last-ditch effort here for Showtime. I think we have seen our boy Clem do it. I think he has taken the series 2-0. And there you have it, guys. So I'd like to thank you all for tuning in once again. Hit like and favorite and subscribe if you want to see some more amazing replays, and we will see you at the next big event. And we are back. I apologize for that. I actually didn't see the remaining replays in the folder, so we are going to be hopping into game number 3 with this guy up on a 2-0 lead, spawning down here in the bottom position. He is Team Liquid's Clem. And his opponent up here in the top for himself, he is Showtime. So Clem has had a couple of very quick victories to kind of cement himself forward in this game. Showtime is really going to have to work his heart out to make this work for him, as he's got to go for the complete reverse sweep in order to make this happen. But, you know, I don't think Clem is one of those players who's going to allow him to really get that far. We'll have to see. Showtime is still a very solid Protoss player. He really can play this matchup out, and I think this is actually his best matchup overall. I'd have to check that on his Liquidoc rating, but yeah, I mean, nothing too crazy going on in the first couple of minutes in this game. It looks like we do see both players just kind of gearing up for the later stages. Not going to throw down that Nexus just yet, but there you go. Enemy behind this, Clem. You know, Clem is just going to get his own CC up, so equal timings. But one thing to note is he has skipped the Reaper once again, so this first SEV is going to be the only scouting information he gets for a little bit of time. Now, once again, it looks like Hellions is going to be the choice here, just because he does have that factory down nice and close to that reactor building up. And I mean, he's still kind of scouting around. He's kind of expecting something a little bit shenaniganry from Showtime. And actually, he might just be hiding that starport as soon as the factory finishes on up. So we'll keep an eye on that SCV. Showtime going to be scouting around, looking for any sort of proxy, but he hasn't seen anything. Hasn't scouted this location at all. And I mean, with the positioning here, with it just being a starport, I do think this is going to be a lift up of those Hellions, just straight into the main base, try and get some work done. I don't think it would be Widow Mines, just because you don't usually proxy this far out. But yeah, even the Adept going to see what's up. Back at home with the shield battery. Basically, this does mean that you need to sync up the shots for the Hellions. And oh my God, 2 pixels away. He's gonna look at this replay and he is going to cry a little bit about it, just not seeing that. But again, that depends on if he wins this game or not. But that's got to be very painful. Aliens are going to line themselves up here, and they're going to drop in exactly the right location. This isn't scouted out. Once again, Showtime not seeing it until the very last second. All of his units are away from the base, so they're not going to be very helpful in this situation. And with the entire mineral line going down, Clem can just get in there and do some more damage, but GG is called. So that is going to be the real end to the series. Thank you all for tuning in, and we will see you at the next big event.